Hi golfers, Nick here from Untitled Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to talk about the tilts at address and the posture you should be looking for in the golf swing. So first of all, we're going to take a look at this from down the line. So when we talk about posture, first thing we're going to talk about is the back, and I'm going to try and break it down into two parts. So I'm going to refer to it as the lower back and the upper back. So first of all, we look at the lower back. What we're looking for is a straight line. Sometimes you'll see some golfers and they create this bit of an S posture, and you see some golfers they create a bit of a C posture. So we're looking for the lower half to be pretty straight, not curved in and not curved out. So we're looking for a straight lower back. Upper back, we want that to be a little bit curved. So if you see me set up to the ball here, lower back's pretty straight, but the upper back is slightly more curved. So you can see that I haven't got a perfectly straight back here. My upper spine is slightly tilted over, and that's quite important. That's going to sort of get you into the right setup at address. Try and get your eyes over the golf ball. Try and get the right neck tilts as well. So when I set up to this golf ball, my neck's slightly tilted down, my upper back slightly tilted over. So I'm looking at the ball out the centre of my vision. One of the biggest faults I see is some golfers that try and have like a perfect straight line posture, and they try and keep their chin up with the pretense of being able to turn more, but actually when you've got your chin up like this, that encourages you to turn the shoulders on the wrong angle, and it makes you sort of look for the golf ball in the golf swing. So if you're looking at the ball at the bottom of your eyes, you're going to sort of tilt the head down anyway to see that golf ball at the centre of your vision. So really important when we're looking at the posture, we're looking for a straight lower back and a slightly curved upper back with the neck tilt slightly down. Other things we're looking for, just to give you some bit of detail into the setup, we're going to look at the hip tilt first of all. So when I set up, you can probably see my belt buckle slightly pointed downwards. So if I didn't have any tilt in my hips, my belt buckle would point straight out like that, so it would be in a straight line, and the idea then would be to sort of turn like this. But in the golf swing, we're actually tilted over more, so the belt buckle should point down, and roughly we're looking about roughly 20 degrees of hip tilt at address. And I said the upper body needs to be tilted more over, or the neck needs to be tilted more over. So the lower body straight, upper body more tilted over. So at the top here, we're probably looking from the zero position, probably around about 40 degrees of shoulder tilt. So we've got 40 degree shoulder tilt, 20 degree hip tilt. And they're quite important. That's going to help us swing the club on the right angle. I see a lot of golfers set up with virtually no hip tilt and hardly any shoulder tilt, and that encourages you to swing the shoulders more sort of level to the ground. So if we take the camera around now, look at it from the face-on view. So we're going to see a couple of things here, and we take a look at this from the face-on. So first of all, if I set up to this golf ball, talked about the neck tilt, we looked at that from down the line, what that looked like. So from face-on, as I set up with my neck tilted down slightly, you shouldn't be able to see my face from my cap. But if I had my chin up like this, you could see my face here. So we're looking for the neck tilt down so it covers the face. When we talk about the movements that happen in the golf swing, one of the important things is the shoulder turn, and I talked about it from the down the line view there, saying that we needed to be tilted over at roughly 40 degrees. Now when we look at how the shoulders turn, they should turn at a right angle to the mount we're tilted over. So I'm just going to sort of talk about what we should be looking for from the face-on view here with the camera here. So set up, just one more tilt I need to add in before we take a look at this, and that's a slight side tilt. So from the belt buckle to the sort of my sternum here, there's a slight tilt, slightly tilted away slightly, roughly 5 to 10 degrees. We don't want to be too excessive here with this side tilt here, but we don't want to be dead in line. We just want a slight side tilt away. It'll probably be a little bit more for the driver, but here I've got mid-iron, 7-iron here, so we're just looking sort of just a slight hip bump forward, just to give you that slight side tilt at address. Now once we set up, the movements we're looking for is the left shoulder. If you film your swing from face on, one of the biggest faults I see is golfers that when they swing back, their left shoulder moves more across, sort of they're trying to turn their shoulders, when actually we're looking at more of a pivot. We're trying to sort of get that shoulder to move more downwards, and we'll look at this from down the line in a second, but we're looking for the shoulder to sort of move more like a 45-degree angle. So as it's moving down, it's moving in as well. So it's not moving across. That would pull my head up and away. We want the head to stay very centered. I've talked about the movements of the spine, the extension and the side bending in the golf swing, but just to clarify, the left shoulder, that should move down sort of roughly 45 degrees in the backswing, and that will help you keep the head pretty stable. So let's move the camera around now, just take a look from down the line just to see what that looks like. So we talked about the shoulder there from face on. Now if I take my setup here, if I was to sort of measure a golfer's sort of posture and their head movement, I would work out their shoulder tilt at address and then sort of look to try and maintain that in the golf swing. And ideally we want our shoulders turning at a right angle to the mount we tilted over, so roughly at a right angle to our spine angle roughly. So from this angle, my shoulders should move down like this. And you can see that left shoulder is moving down. We looked at what that looked like from the face on view. We're now seeing what it looks like from the down the line view. And if I move it correctly, my shoulders should turn at a right angle to the mount I'm tilted over. Other things to look for here as well, as I do this, if you notice my hips, we talked about the hip tilt at address. Here at the top of the backswing, you can see the right hip's higher than the left, so there's still a slight tilted angle here. Same with the shoulders, so we're tilted over in the golf swing, and it's important to maintain posture or spine angle. I like to call it maintain your inclination to the ground. To maintain those, you've got to have the right tilts at address and the right movements in the golf swing. So we're just going to go through that once more. So we talked about setup, roughly 20 degrees of hip tilt, and then the shoulder tilt a bit more, maybe 40. And then in the golf swing, we're looking for the left shoulder to move more down. That's going to help the sort of the head stay in its position. It's going to help you keep your inclination to the ground. Just to point out one more thing here when I'm doing this, we talked about the right hip being higher than the left. Notice as I'm making this swing, the knee flex is beginning to change. I've talked about this quite a lot. This does a number of things. It helps you turn a lot easier, helps you bring the hands more on an inward path, but it's just to point out that the angles we're looking for, the right hip higher than the left, and then the right shoulder higher than the left at the top of the backswing. So there's some key movements there that you should be looking for. The golf swing isn't a turn, it's more of a pivot with side bending and extending of the spine in the golf swing. But most important thing, if you can keep your head pretty steady, then hopefully you'll hit some good golf shots. So golfers, if you've got any questions on that regarding any of the tilts or anything I mentioned in that video, please post your comments in the box below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on other social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.